Give it to us, give it to us, give it to us. Sony coming out with something brand new in September. A new console is golden for Nintendo Switch fans who want that Switch 2 reveal, because I feel like Sony's movements make Nintendo all the more likely to reveal their console as well, and I'll tell you why in today's show. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. It ain't morning anywhere. I know, I'm really late with this one. I apologize. Hope you still love me. It's hard being on the West Coast, Pacific time zone. You're always behind. And then I needed some extra sleep today, man. Got to take care of that human body. Nintendo could take care of all of us, though, with a Switch 2 reveal. And I really think that when you look at it and deal with all the different reasons why they may not, today's PlayStation 5 Pro leak shows that Nintendo is going to have to pull the ace out of their sleeve. We'll get to that in a minute, though. I want to let you know that this Labor Day weekend, there is a 6 sale on Switch Lite, $164.99 at Walmart. It's a freaking great price. Amazing price if you're looking to pick up a Switch for somebody this holiday season. I don't see it getting any lower. That's less than half price of an OLED, which is really crazy. I know you can't play some games in, that require other controllers and require the different modes because it is just a handheld only system. It can't dock, but alas, like, that turquoise color is sweet. $165 is a phenomenal price. Walmart also has Tears of the Kingdom for $50, $150 for Zelda. Well, some people would think it's worth it. $50 though, which is $20 off the retail price. Remember, that was a $70 game, the only Nintendo $70 game. And so you're getting a good chunk off this Labor Day. All right, let's move into PlayStation 5 Pro and why this is great news for Nintendo Switch fans. You might think, why do I care? It's a PS5 Pro. It's going to be insanely expensive. But all of these little facts about the next system from Sony contribute to Nintendo needing to go. And go is what we want them to do. So popular leakers were talking a lot about PS5 Pro today, and they're really, really confident in this. They've even got some drawings of what the PS5 Pro is supposed to look like, and it seems like the industry agrees this announcement from Sony is imminent. And at first when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is probably bad for Nintendo Switch fans. Like, we want this system announced in September, but Sony's gonna take up the spot. Sony is going to eat the spotlight for September, and Nintendo will have to wait, because that makes sense, right? You want to have your own month, you want to market it, you don't want to be bogged down by another platform, by all this other hype. But instead, I think Sony pressing the button to reveal makes Nintendo have to press the button that much faster. Okay, there's a lot of reasons. The first one being that the PlayStation 5 Pro is expected to be insanely expensive. We're talking $600 to $700. That is a ton of money. And what a perfect way for Nintendo to blunt the impact of their price increase by showing, hey, it's so much cheaper than a PS5 Pro. Sony is just giving you a half step for this much money, and we're going to give you a whole brand spanking new console for $400. That makes that price seem a lot better, even though it is expensive. It is way less expensive than the PlayStation 5 Pro, and I think establishing that comparison, establishing sort of that differentiation will be the Nintendo's advantage. There's also the fact that if Sony is already turning the gears towards their next piece of hardware, man, the clock is ticking for Nintendo. Like, they've got an ace up their sleeve, and they've been holding it because of the success of the Switch. Because the generational turn to PS5 and to Xbox Series X was a little bit slower. A lot of cross-gen games. Not as much, oh wow, this is the latest, greatest, newest thing, and we're into it immediately. It took some time for these systems to really gain a footing. But now, if Sony's already moving on to their next half-step console, it's like, boom, pull that ace out before it gets sweaty. You ever played cards with someone with clammy hands? It's a horrible experience. Nobody wants the sweaty 9 of diamonds. Nobody wants to touch that card. Just forget it. Get it out of my sight. And Nintendo better remove their card before they cause not only card sweat, but investor sweat. See, that's the other thing that this Sony announcement will do. It'll make Nintendo investors nervous. It'll make executives be like, we gotta go as well. Yeah, I'd love if Nintendo catered exclusively to the gamers and the players like you and I, but let's be real, they are a business, they're trying to make money. They gotta keep their investors and all their huge, high executives happy. Nintendo has been in a holding pattern for a while now, and that's worked out for them. But Sony moves, and now it's much more urgent for Nintendo to move as well. They're already going to the next generation, and we haven't even started this new one. Remember that the Switch 1 was always behind the 8-ball, and part of the huge goal, it seems, with Switch 2 is to not be as much behind the 8-ball. But as this console comes out, the PS5 Pro is going to be the most powerful console of all time. It's definitely targeting, a different audience, people that want like a high-end PC experience, but in a console form. Frankly, I don't know how many units they're going to sell of a super snazzy PS5. I mean, it's going to sell some, but like, how many actually are they going to move? Regardless, it puts Nintendo even further behind. The more you let Sony move into their mid-cycle refresh, the more you let Xbox do their next thing, the more it seems like the Switch 2 is not as impressive. We surely don't want the PS5 Pro to come out and games to start really getting a grasp on that system, taking advantage of it and putting out premium graphics, and then you show the Switch 2 and it's like, oh, it looks nice. I think you got to get the Switch 2 out there and show it before the PS5 Pro is released. Therefore, you can still be impressive. You can still be closer to cutting edge. Nintendo always falls behind. They've got this issue where they are releasing their consoles mid-cycle of other platform holders, and it puts them in a precarious spot, and that spot is undesirable. Nintendo will want to move to try and at least make up as much ground as possible before that spot becomes too evident. Now, given the PS5 Pro will be a half step, and they'll still need to clearly develop for PS5, I don't think it's going to hurt Nintendo in a third-party sense for a while, but just from a mind share sense, just from an optics sense, Sony moving to even better graphics will make Nintendo look worse, and they will want to get out ahead of that, I believe. Also, I think coverage for Nintendo Switch 2 will be way more popular than coverage for a PS5 Pro. It's kind of a great way to stick it to your competitor to reveal the same month and to take away some of their steam. Nintendo has been dominant this generation, especially in Japan, and I think they'd like to continue that dominance and showing that they are number one over Sony, who also like to look to their Eastern markets for significant sales. Switch 2 is going to massively overtake PlayStation 5 Pro in terms of interest. It just will. People are way more excited for it. There's been far more anticipation, a lot longer of waiting. It's been 8 freaking years. And moments like these only come around 1.1 or 1.2 times every decade where we get a new console, we get a new system, and it's far more exciting to have a full generational switch than to have just a half step, right? Like obviously the PS5 was more exciting than the Switch Lite because that's just iterative. The PS5 more exciting than the Switch OLED because that's just a little upgrade. The Switch 2 will be more exciting than the PS5 Pro, and it can dominate the coverage. It doesn't need to worry. Those two can sit next to each other, one, because they target, in a lot of ways, different types of players and audiences, but two, because Nintendo knows they're king of the castle. They know they've got the King Koopa, and PlayStation 5 Pro is more like the Lemmy or the Kamek. No shade to Kamek, one of my favorite Mario characters of all time, and I'm sure the PS5 Pro will be equally impressive, but Nintendo knows they can dominate. And I think that going at the same time as Sony, or in the same month, around the same window, is really going to make them look better. It's really going to make investors feel more confident. It's really going to establish that they are the dominant player in the video game market right now, and they still can be as we move through a new cycle of consoles. So I initially was worried PS5 Pro's reveal might actually put the pause and the brakes on Nintendo's plans, but alas, I think it does the opposite. I think it speeds it up. I think it makes Nintendo want to show their hand as soon as possible. And that's very freaking cool for us. That is fantastic news for us, and it brings about a really exciting wait where September is right around the corner, and we just have to wait to see when they do it. When will Nintendo decide to go? I think it's going to be soon. Let me know your take in the comments down below. Do you agree with me that the PS5 Pro reveal is actually a good thing in terms of us hoping to get our Switch 2 reveal sooner rather than later? Speaking of later, do not delay on getting your 3DS repaired, because apparently Nintendo of Japan has run out of parts. They are canceling 3DS repairs because they ain't got no more 3DS goods to spare. It's been a long time since that system came out. We know they've shut down the online service. They're clearly moving on and wanting to close the door on that era, but it's interesting that they're not taking 3DS repairs anymore. They're still taking 2DS repairs and 3DS XL repairs. I assume this will start to trickle out across the globe, starting out as a Nintendo of Japan thing, but eventually we'll hit Nintendo of Europe and Nintendo of America. The era is over. We are moving to the next thing. Whereas we had a Switch and 3DS combo direct in the beginning, we're going to have a Switch 1 and Switch 2 combo direct sooner than later. It's very, very awesome, very, very exciting, and I feel like this is it. I feel like we're actually here. I feel like we're actually about to see a reveal. We're going to get maybe a release date, maybe a price point. These things that will actually show Nintendo is ready once again to be the number one console and to, put a $700, $650 PS5 Pro to shame, even though that has supreme power. Hey, this can be portable as well. This has prettier graphics than you had on your last one. And oh, by the way, we've got the best darn games catalog in the universe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, everybody. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Thanks so much for watching. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.